I don't rummage around bookstores as much as I used to. Like many of you, I do most of my book shopping online now, but I used to frequent Christian bookstores to buy books to fill my library. I haven't been in a while. But I do remember every time I went, there was always one section dedicated to our fascination with the end of time. A big section for the apocalypse, the lake of fire, judgment day, end of time. Big displays, red and black depictions of anger and inferno. We've read a lot of those books. Tim LaHaye and Jerry Jenkins wrote 16 books in their Left Behind series, and they were not the only ones capitalizing on our fascination with the final judgment. You might be interested in Frank Peretti's Piercing the Darkness, Eric Wilson's Fireproof, Terry Blackstock's Nightlight. I could go on and on. Given all of our fascination with it, would surprise you to learn that Jesus describes Judgment Day only once. And, in fact, except for the book of Revelation, our story today is the only description of the final judgment in the whole of the New Testament. And it happens right here, chapter 25 of Matthew's Gospel, at the end of the public ministry of Jesus. And as though the end of time final judgment were not a big enough topic on its own, the placement in Matthew's Gospel kind of highlights it, underlines it. It has that, before I leave, if you don't remember anything else I said, remember this quality to it. There's an ultimate question in here that needs to be answered, and we're invited to perk up. Jesus says that when the Son of Man comes in all his glory, all the angels will be there. Not just a few, not just Michael and Gabriel and whoever else was on call that day. All the angels will be present. All of heaven attending God's glory, all the nations attending. All of heaven has shown up. All of earth is in attendance. The Mercedes-Benz Stadium will not hold this one. Big. In this spectacle of glory, this epic end-of-time judgment, the Son of Man, the great judge of humankind, is going to act like a ranch hand. And that's a little strange. You'd expect something a little bigger than that at the end of this giant opening of heaven. But the Son of Glory is going to act like a shepherd. Jesus, who came into the world in a manger with heavenly hosts singing, according to Matthew's image, will come back with an even bigger choir and act like a ranch hand, separating the sheep from the goats. Shepherds in first century Palestine let the sheep and goats intermingle during the daytime. They could graze side by side all day long, but when nighttime came, the ranch hand needed to separate them out. The goats went inside to shelter to protect them from the cold, but the sheep, all of them had wool coats and didn't need to go inside. And judgment shines a light on all the good and bad. We are fully known. There's a beginning and end to human history on earth. There is an Alpha and Omega. God starts and finishes the human story, the final judgment revealing what is true. Whatever we might be doing in the darkness, in judgment, the lights are on. Our motivations are out for everyone to see. It is the horror and the blessing of being fully known. And the shepherd king puts the sheep at his right hand, the goats at his left, and then the king will say to those at his right hand, "Come, you that are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared to you for the foundation of the world." The final judgment, the ultimate question: who inherits the kingdom? But before we get to Jesus' big question, let's talk about our big question. This is our question, right? How does one become a sheep? Isn't that the question in the back of our head? When the trumpet sounds and the days of life are o'er, when Jesus declares who will inherit the kingdom, who gets counted among the sheep? The Christian church has been fighting about this for a long time. Some in the Christian community adhere to a particular stream of Calvinism that says, oh, that's predetermined. Some are predestined to be sheep, others predestined to be goats. God, in God's infinite knowledge, knows ahead of time which group you're in. Our American revival roots ask the ultimate question in a different way. Have you confessed Jesus Christ as Savior and Lord? The book of Romans says, if you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord, believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. That's how we know. Those who said it out loud, those who made that confession are sheep, those who did not say that are goats. And we affirm this essential declaration that Jesus is Lord. But according to today's story, it's not the final exam question. Part of what we need to caution is our being too sure who is a sheep and who is a goat. There's an audacity to declaring who gets excluded from the kingdom. Now, I have run into a lot of folks who have clear ideas about us and them. Some folks, I think, didn't need a final judgment because they've read up, they've got this, they already know. I know a goat when I see one, I got it. We've got a lot of ways of dividing ourselves up into us and them. When I was a kid, I was told by a few of these very sure people, mostly subtly, mostly it was kind of on the edge. I was told to be skeptical of all people who were not white Protestant Christians. And the truth is, they weren't real sure about Episcopalians. And Catholics, well, they believe stuff we don't believe. I mean, be nice to them at school and all, just be careful. And for much of our Christian history, we have divided the Christian community over what we believe, us and them. Did you read about this? 2 weeks ago, the Tennessee Baptist Convention kicked out a church, kicked them out of the convention. We want nothing more to do with them. They are no longer in fellowship. We do not believe what they believe. It's over. And what the First Baptist Church of Jefferson City, Tennessee did to incite this response, to get separated from the herd, was they called a woman as their pastor. Us, them. We keep dividing ourselves over the audacity that we're always right. Protestant, Catholic, male, female, Democrat, Republican, black, white, American, foreigner. We keep playing ratch hand judge, separating sheep and goats over whatever question we think is ultimate. And it's a dangerous game for us to assume the power of judge. I've had pastor friends fired from their pulpits because the church had established an ultimate belief question that the pastor failed. And it was not the question in our passage today. It never is. Us, them, sheep, goats, which side are you on? Did you hear what she said she believed? One of my interim pastorates, There was this really smart, really angry man who took notes during my sermons. Now, usually I'm honored by that. Somebody wants to check back, reference the sermon later. But he only took notes on things he disagreed with so he could challenge me about it later. He taught a Sunday school class, an adult Sunday school class, and each Sunday he would open his class referencing last week's sermon and how I was wrong and how he needed to follow up and challenge me about how I was wrong, because there was a chance that if he pushed the question far enough, he might with great satisfaction declare that I had veered out of his narrow lane of orthodoxy. Like so many people I have known over the years, he would rather be right than loving. All the people I have met who insist on telling me that they know who sheep are and who goats are have a very high value on being right. Ironically, I've never heard one of these judges separate sheep and goats according to the ultimate question of Jesus. So, by what criteria does Jesus separate sheep from goats? The Son of Man comes in his glory. Jesus appears on the throne. The nations are gathered. The angels have gathered. They're gathered around the Holy One who has come in his eternal glory and asks this. Fred Craddock writes, "Let me put it this way. If we know we're going to face a final exam of one question, and we're told by the examiner what the question is to be, is it not reasonable to suppose that one question would gather to itself the interest and the energies and the concerns of all of us? Now, here is the question. How did you respond to human need? That is the question. In this story, Jesus separates the sheep and the goats according to their response to human need. I was born into poverty. My father's in prison. My mother neglects me, and the only chance I have of staying warm this winter is getting free clothes from the Thriftique on Miami Circle. People donate their coats there, and I can get a free coat for winter. Did you or did you not contribute? I've been a member of Second-Ponce for 46 years, but I'm not able to attend any longer. I'm a widower. I'm not able to drive. My grown children live out of state. Did you or did you not come spend time with me? Did you or did you not offer to take me to run errands? I live in Puerto Rico. My home was mostly destroyed by Hurricane Maria when it came through here on September 20th. I've been without power for more than a month. I have had 2 showers in the last 3 weeks. Did you or did you not contribute anything to a relief organization when that happened to me? My dad got a new job in Atlanta, so my mom moved her practice here. I'm in the first week of my new school, and I know I don't look like you or your friends, but I feel alone. Did you or did you not sit with me at lunch? I'm one of the 18% of people living in Fulton County who is food insecure. Catch that. Almost 1 in 5 of us here in Fulton County not sure if we will get 3 meals a day. But I do eat well, and my family eats well when we leave the Buckhead Christian Ministry office with food that was donated by members of Second-Ponce Baptist Church. Did you or did you not donate to the food drive when it was our turn? My college professor, Buddy Sheridan, used to say, being a Christian means having your heart broken by the same things that break the heart of Christ. I'm not suggesting that what we believe is unimportant. It matters. It matters that we have a right, orthodox, wholesome belief system. But there's so much destructive energy being given to divisive insistence on who is right and who is wrong, us and them. Angry radio voices dividing those of us who agree with his politics from the stupid people who don't. Pious Facebook posts asking us to share and like her hatred and moral outrage toward the couple living next door. There is a fractious group that would rather be right than loving. And I agree with my professor. Being Christian means having your heart broken by the same things that break the heart of Christ. And today's picture of the Christ is a broken-hearted ranch hand who asks us one simple question: how did you respond to human need?